These aren't urban legends, not to the people who live them. We found 5 first-hand accounts, each from a different place, each telling the same story. Something was out there. You decide what that means? Headlights slicing through fog. My goal was Colchester Overpass, Bunnyman Bridge, if you've heard of the legend. I parked on loose gravel and grabbed my flashlight. The air smelled like damp leaves and old oil. I crept toward the embankment, expecting nothing more than graffiti and crumbling concrete. Instead, I saw a smear of something dark, almost like old blood, streaked across the guardrail. My heart kicked up a notch. I clicked on my GoPro and edged under the bridge. A loud thump above. My flashlight swung up, illuminating 2 long, floppy ears breaking through the dirt ramp. Then I saw him, a 6-foot figure in a tattered white rabbit suit, its chest stained brown and red. He held a hatchet blade glinting in my beam. No mask, just empty darkness where a face should be. I froze. He cocked his head like a dog sizing up prey and lifted the hatchet in a slow, deliberate arc. I tripped backward, yanked off my backpack, and dove through my car door. Engine roared, tires spun, and I peeled out of there before he even moved. Later, I learned this matched eyewitness accounts from October 1970. 2 attack reports that police never solved. I'm not saying I saw the same guy, but whatever I saw that night was the closest I'll get to Bunnyman. I used to live in Tokyo for school. It was fast-paced, crowded, kind of overwhelming, but I loved it. One night after cramming all evening, I missed the earlier trains and had to catch one of the last local lines out of Shinjuku. The platform was nearly empty, just a few late-night commuters slumped over or staring at their phones. When the train pulled in, I climbed into the front car, which was mostly deserted. There was a girl already sitting there wearing a school uniform. She looked maybe 15, but something about her posture caught my eye. She wasn't really sitting, more like crouching low to the seat, like she was kneeling. Her arms were stiff at her sides, and her head was tilted down so her hair covered her face. I thought she might be hurt, so I sat a couple seats down and kept sneaking glances, trying not to stare. Well, then the train hit a tunnel and the lights flickered. She jerked her head up fast, and I swear she didn't have any eyes, just smooth skin where they should have been. Then I realized she wasn't sitting. She had no legs. She was propped up on her elbows, and I could hear them dragging against the floor. It's a slow, scraping metallic sound like nails on a stovetop. She started crawling toward me. Elbow over elbow, faster than you'd think was possible. I remember the way her hair swayed behind her, so fast it almost looked like wind was pushing it. But there was no wind in that car, just that horrible sound. I panicked, hit the emergency button. The train jolted hard and the lights went red. She was almost at my feet. Then the doors hissed open behind me and I bolted. I turned back just once, just before I jumped off the platform. No one was there, not the girl, not even a stain or smear where she should have been, like nothing had happened. I barely slept that night. The next day, I tried to tell a friend. He told me the story of Teke-Teke, a girl who died after being cut in half by a train. They say she still crawls around the stations late at night, dragging what's left of her body. I didn't believe in that stuff before, but after that night, I stopped taking the last train. I'm a long-haul trucker, and rest stops are my lifeline. One night off Highway 59, I rolled into a rundown station. No attendant, no lights, except flickering pumps. 2 kids stood under the only bulb, arms folded. Cute at first glance until I noticed their eyes were pure black like coal. "Sir, can we use your phone?" I asked in unison, voices flat, too old for their faces. My skin crawled. I handed over my cell reflexively. The girl tapped the screen once, set it down, and whispered, "You don't want to stay." I told them to scram, but they moved closer so quietly that I barely heard footsteps. Then soft taps on my passenger window. I whipped around. Nothing but darkness and that bulb swaying overhead. I jumped in, slammed doors, and floored it. In my mirror, I swear I saw them standing by the pumps, heads tilted exactly the same. I checked the map later. There's no recorded station at that mile marker. No business ever opened there. Just to kids with eyes that swallowed every bit of light. Back in summer 1995, I visited my uncle's goat farm in the hills outside Agentas, Puerto Rico. It was hot, dry, and the air always smelled like sugar cane and diesel. I was just a teenager. But I helped feed the goats, clean the pens, that kind of thing. One morning, my uncle called me over with this look on his face I'll never forget. One of the goats was lying stiff near the fence. No blood anywhere, just two small, perfect holes in its neck. Like someone had punched in a paper hole punch. The body looked weird too, like it had been deflated, but there was no blood anywhere, just dry, leathery skin. My uncle didn't say much. He just shook his head and said, "Chupacabra." I thought he was messing with me, till the next night. I stayed up in a plastic chair with a flashlight and a rusted lantern by the pen. I wasn't really expecting anything. But around 2 a.m. I heard this sound I couldn't place. It was like a low, wet gurgling. Almost a growl, but wetter. It made the hairs on my arms stand up. I turned the lantern up and walked slowly toward the edge of the goat enclosure. That's when I saw it. It was crouched low to the ground. At first I thought it was a stray dog with mange, but its body was all wrong. Long limbs, spines running down its back, and skin that looked more like a lizard's than fur. Its eyes caught the lantern light and lit up bright red, like burning coal. It didn't move. Just stared. I was frozen for a second, heart pounding so hard I could barely breathe. Then it hissed, deep and slow, and took one step toward the pen. I raised the lantern and shouted. It stopped, just froze again. We locked eyes for what felt like a full minute. Then it dropped low and darted straight into the thorn bushes. I swear it moved like smoke, low to the ground, fast and fluid. Nothing I've ever seen moved like that. I ran inside, slammed the door, and didn't say anything to my uncle until morning. When I told him, he didn't look surprised. He just nodded and said, "That's why we don't keep goats near the edge anymore. Scientists say it was probably a coyote or a dog with mange, but I've been around both. That thing wasn't sick, it was something else. I still don't go near the woods behind that pen after dark." I spent a few weeks staying with friends in a rural village on Luzon. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other and nothing moved too fast. During the day, it was beautiful. Palm trees, dusty paths, kids chasing chickens, families cooking outside. But at night, the energy shifted. I didn't notice it at first, but the locals did, especially the women. Around dusk, they'd start locking shutters and burning incense. They told me, "When the moon is full, keep your windows shut and don't answer anything you hear outside." I thought it was just superstition. Then came the night I couldn't ignore it. I was sleeping in a bamboo hut just outside the main village. The moon was bright, so bright it lit up the whole room through the slats in the wall. I was halfway asleep when I heard it, tapping, soft, rhythmic, tap, tap, tap. I figured it was just a tree branch or some insect. But then it moved. First at one wall, then at another. I sat up, confused. The tapping followed the walls like it was circling me. Then it stopped. A second later, something landed on the roof. The thatch creaked, then sagged like something heavy was crawling across it. I heard this sound I'll never forget. A sharp clicking, like bones snapping in sequence. Then something leaned over the side of the hut. Through a gap in the slats, I saw it. Long arms, thin leathery skin. Fingers hanging past the eaves like it had double joints. Hair draped over its face. And that jaw. Clicking, clicking, clicking. I couldn't breathe. I pulled a mosquito net over my head and just laid there, frozen. The net did nothing, obviously, but it was all I could think to do. I didn't sleep again that night. I just waited for the sun. By morning, the thatch was torn, like claw marks had raked across it. And in the dust around the hut were footprints. Bare feet, but with long, deep toe impressions. Like something not quite human. They told me it was an Aswang, a shapeshifter. Sometimes it's a woman, sometimes a bird, or even just a shadow. But when it hunts, it feeds on the sick, the dying, or the unborn. I didn't argue. I just packed my bag and slept in the main village after that.